No, don't worry, I have not run out of Scale 500 aircraft model, but I'm sure you also know that I like to branch out whenever possible, and especially when there's a chance of looking at a nice model, as we maybe have here in front of us today. Now, this type of reviews I can only do thanks to my partner here on the channel, Jumbolino Model, who's very kindly have helped me out here. And if you would like to find some lovely models, then do check them out. They have reasonable prices with great service, so find the link in the video description below. With that, hello and welcome to a new episode of Review of Me. Today we'll take a closer look at a Boeing 737MAX8 of LOT Polish Airlines. At the front of the box we have a lovely design already with a rendition of the aircraft model, the branding of LOT, and that is continued on the back side where we then get another rendition of the aircraft model, including a top-down view of the aircraft. Of course, we also have the specifications of the real aircraft, so always nice with a little bit of information on these boxes. And here she is, the Boeing 737MAX8 in the standard livery of LOT Polish Airlines. Yes, a standard livery aircraft model, because JC Wings is so clever to often release, well, models in various versions. So, for example, this aircraft model, they released with 2 different registration codes, but they also released the special livery aircraft model. But unlike with other manufacturers, Herpa Wings, you don't have to wait for years to actually then get a standard livery aircraft model, but they basically release it all at once. This, of course, being a massive advantage to the collector, who can then actually decide on what he wants to buy and not having to hope for a future release at some point. But how has JC Wings done with this specific aircraft model? That is, of course, what we want to find out. So let's find out by taking a closer look at it, starting off with the tail section, where we on the vertical stabilizer have the LOT Polish Airlines branding and incorporated into that the Polish flag. Then on the fuselage, we have a bunch of detailing actually. We find the full registration code of the aircraft. We have a huge amount of detailing in the cabin door. That looks really, really lovely. Next to that, we have the IATA logo and, of course, the aircraft type specification. Also a little bit of detailing actually around the horizontal stabilizer in form of the marks for the angle of attack. And we also find underneath the tail a bit of printed detailing and, of course, also a nice combination of physical and printed detailing in form of the APU exhaust. Now, at the front of the aircraft and across the fuselage, we then have the LOT branding, followed up with the writing of Polish Airlines. We then have a plethora of, again, static ports, sensors, markings, you name it, you will find it here on this aircraft model, looking really, really lovely. We have, of course, again, a bunch of detailing in the cabin doors. We have the IATA logo next to that, and also the Star Alliance logo, of which the airline is a full member. Underneath the cockpit windows, we have the last 2 letters of the registration code, leading us to the cockpit section itself, so why not just take a look at that. Here we, of course, have the cockpit windows with the metallic edges around that and the window wipers. We find the pedal tubes, for example, so also here, lovely detailing, and also really nice the radome, how that has been portrayed here. So quite nice so far. Let's take a look at the engines to see how JC Wings is doing with those. Now, here we of course have the silver leading edge. We have the safety markings. We have some hatches. We have the LOT Polish Airlines branding. So again, a part of the aircraft with a lot of printed detailing. They are not skipping out on us here. And also the physical detailing I think is actually quite nice with the chevron nozzles looking really sharp. And also looking into the engines from the front, where we very nicely can see the engine fan blades. Oh my god, look at all these lovely models. Oh, I'm sorry that I interrupted your review, but we'll get back to that model in just a second. But just check out all these lovely models. And perhaps you're like me and you just don't know which one you should add next to your collection, because here you're truly spoiled for choice with all the scales and all the die-cast manufacturers that you can find at the Jumbolino Model store. So do check them out. You can find a link to them in the video description below. Now moving on from this handsome fella, we can take a look here at the fuselage, where we have the emergency exits printed on, leading us straight on to the wings, which we should definitely also take a closer look at. Starting off at the top side, where we have the different flap slats and spoilers carved out very nicely. We have the markings as to where to walk on the wing and the emergency exit markings as well. The underside of the wings has more nice physical detailing and the full registration code of the aircraft. And the 737MAX8, of course, has these lovely winglets featuring the LOT Polish Airlines branding. JC Wings has done a nice job with that. My highlight, however, is is the fact that we have the landing lights printed on. Very lovely. Now, in terms of the landing gear, that is of course made out of metal, except for the wheels. They're made out of plastic. We have some fairly decent physical detailing, for example, with wheel caps. When we look at the front landing gear, yeah, a bit crooked, maybe a bit too much, but we do have some printed detailing here, so that's quite lovely. And of course, we do also have the feature of rolling wheels for those who actually use it and want to have it on the model. This model features it, as so many other Scale 200 and 400 models these days. Now, on the belly of the aircraft, we find a really lovely amount of detailing as well, both physical and printed detailing. Of course, we have a hole here in the fuselage, given that this is a JC Wings aircraft model, but unfortunately, we don't have a stand included with this, so a little bit nonsensical, especially because it destroys the lovely LOT Polish Airlines branding. But ignoring that, at least we can still enjoy the rest, where we have, again, a lovely amount of physical detailing with antennas. We have printed detailing, so not too bad looking here on the belly of the aircraft. Also not too bad is the aircraft looking from the top down. When we look here on top of the fuselage, we have again a lovely combination of physical detailing and printed detailing with antennas and set domes. So yeah, that is certainly a nice part of the aircraft. What is also nice is the fact that JC Wings has, of course, added the doors to the cargo compartments, printed on here at the back of the aircraft and also here at the front of the aircraft. So there we have it, the Boeing 737 MAX 8 and the standard livery of LOT Polish Airlines from JC Wings in scale 1 to 400. And what can we say about this aircraft model? Now, overall, I think we have a fairly decent aircraft model in front of us, although not the best, to be honest. Now, I really do like that JC Wings is releasing several of basically the same aircraft at once, but with slight variations, because I think it gives the collector better flexibility in deciding what models they want to have and what not, because they don't have to basically, well, find one aircraft model and then hope that maybe in a few years the model that they actually wanted to have released is being released, but well, basically that's a hope, so they don't know if it will be happening, so they might go for the first model because maybe the other one will never come along. If you understand what I'm trying to say here, well done. But overall, the finish of this aircraft model for me is a little bit of a letdown, to be honest. I mean, we have the crooked landing gear. Now, this is normally not something I really go much into because landing gears are delicate, and this is definitely not something that has to be affecting the entire production batch. But this landing gear, honestly speaking, reminded me more of the Gemini jet models I have reviewed. Not surprising because JC Wings produces the models for Gemini jets, so they're coming out of the same factory. But normally JC Wings is taking a little bit more care with their landing gears than for the models they make for Gemini jets. Not so much in this case. The print overall is also not bad, but it's, for me, it feels a little bit rushed maybe. I mean, maybe you noticed that there was a little bit of an issue with one of the cargo doors. Again, this does not have to affect all of the models in the production, but here and there were some minor things for me that just felt like not quite as sharp as maybe normally. So maybe a little bit of a rush job here. I don't know. This is just my personal feeling. Still, and in an attempt to end on a positive note, because I actually still quite like this aircraft model, it's not a bad model. It's just I have seen better work from JC Wings in the past, but I really like the amount of printed detailing we have on this aircraft model. That is a joy to look at, so well done on that. But what are your thoughts on this aircraft model? Am I completely wrong here? Does this maybe not feel rushed? I mean, for me it does, but I would genuinely be interested in hearing your thoughts. And you can do so in the comment section down below. And what you can also do is, if you like this type of content, leave a like, or if you're new around here, hit subscribe, because with that we have reached the end of today's episode. So thank you very much for watching. Hope to see you soon again. I'm checking out, and bye.